episode of Veritas. My name is Jessica Lubianski, and I'm joined once again by Father Kevin, and we're going to break open a fascinating topic today. It is February 2021, and that means that it is Black History Month. We are going to be celebrating this during the month of February, and so many times in our society we see, this is more of a secular month, that we don't really focus on the Catholic aspect. And we have so many fascinating cultures within our church. Catholic is universal, but so many times we neglect to even think about Black History Month within our Catholic Church. And so I'm joined today by Father Kevin once again, and we're going to just dive into this topic of some of the Black History Month and about being a Black Catholic and maybe even some amazing saints within our church. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Father Kevin.
Thank you. I think Black History Month is an important month for us here, especially in our parish. It really is a time for us to celebrate the culture, the life, the history of many of the African Americans within our country and our society that we're just not aware of. And why are we not aware of it? Because history books didn't necessarily say they were African American, or even remotely tell us that the accomplishments of African Americans have not been really celebrated in our history books. And I think as things are coming more to light now, and as we are looking at history, some of those things are coming out. And so we find out, oh my gosh, that person discovered this, or, they were the ones who created this. And so before, we would have just assumed it was maybe a white person or someone else. And so it is a time to celebrate our history. Now, we do have a special month that we celebrate in the Catholic tradition, our Black Catholic saints. And I guess there's a couple of them that probably stand out for me, only because of I guess, kind of interest. One would be Sister Thea Bowman, who is not a saint yet, but is on track, I guess you would say, because she was at Xavier University in the Institute for Black Catholic Studies when I studied there. So I've met her, I've been around her, and so it's wonderful to be able to see her cause progress. And I guess the other one, just because he's a priest, is Father Augustus Tolton, the first a Black Catholic priest that was born in Missouri and then ministered in Chicago and died in Chicago. And it's always kind of interesting with Father Augustus Tolton to hear the struggles that he had in terms of he had to go, of course, elsewhere to get into seminary because African Americans were not allowed in seminary at that time. And so it's interesting to hear of his struggle, that he persevered. And so I'm kind of watching his cause also.
Awesome. And before we started filming, you were talking about there was different inventions and different things that, sometimes we don't recognize. What are some of those things that maybe fascinate you?
I don't know if there's any one thing that absolutely fascinates me, but I think what amazes me more than anything is when it comes to light. Because there's so many things now that we hear that African Americans did that is just, it kind of blows me away, because we never heard about that growing up. So I don't know that there's any one, but I think it's just overall, it just amazes me that stuff was never shared, or that stuff was kept secret, or that stuff just, for whatever reason, most of them probably not good reasons, but nonetheless, just to find out. I can't even, right now, I don't know anything that's popping into my head, but it's just,
I think it's a beautiful just message that you bring to us today. So many times we're in our own little bubble, in our own little community, and in our own little parish, that we really don't take time to study our history. Sometimes the world is telling us that we should be torn apart, and really we are all Catholic. We are all united. We believe in the same God, and there is a place for each of us to work side by side, making missionary disciples within our world. So I would encourage each of you this week to look up some history about some of our African American saints within our church. I would encourage you that if you are a particular ancestry, look up the ancestry that is within you. My husband's family is Polish, and I often find, because now I have a Polish last name, when I look at stories of Poland, I'm fascinated because I want to be able to tell my children about that. This is our heritage, and we are a universal church that comes together to worship and to spend time just honoring our God that we love so much.
I think, for me, more than some of the inventions and even sports figures, the thing that sticks out are some of the major players, like when you think of Rosa Parks or the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and you start reading their stories and learning more about them. I think I'm probably more fascinated with that because of the struggle that really took place, and that, again, you learn more about the character of the person and really what they stood for. I think the other thing, there's such a misconception about Black Catholics. So often we think of African Americans as Baptists, but we forget the rich heritage of African Americans in our church, from gospel music to those men and women who ministered. At one time we had Sisters of the Holy Family here in this parish, a group of religious women, African American, and we forget that there are religious orders of women who are African American, that there are religious communities that minister to African Americans, but there are a large concentration of African Americans Catholic in New Orleans, in Chicago, in Baltimore, in St. Louis, in some of the larger cities. And so, a lot of times when you say, Black Catholic Church, they go, I've never heard of that. Does that exist? And it's like, I think I saw a statistic someplace a number of years ago that there are more Black Catholics than there are Blacks in the African American Episcopal Church. So there are a lot of African Americans, and we have our African American bishops, and now an African American cardinal. And so we are a part of the church, we're a valued part of the church, and I think the African American culture, our spirituality, the music, the liturgies have much to offer the Catholic Church in terms of renewal, in terms of life, and in terms of just what we have to offer as a culture and a people.
Right, yeah. I grew up Baptist, and so when I hear an old Southern hymn, it just speaks to my heart more than ever. And so I love that you talked about, that Southern, just that gospel that is honored within the Black Catholic Church. Now, if someone were to come to your parish on a weekend, the Mass would be the same, but maybe would it be a little different as far as the music they hear, or would it be a little bit more charismatic than some of our other more traditional Masses?
I think what you would experience here, right now the choir's not able to sing because of COVID, but certainly there's clapping, there's movement, there's singing. You could call it charismatic, but for us, it would be that whole sense of the entire person being a part of it. They're the body, spirit, soul, everything. And so there's a spirit of hospitality and welcome that one experiences here, and acceptance. And I think the music is uplifting. As a priest who gives homilies and preaches, I think my preaching is probably a bit different than in some of the other traditional churches, Catholic churches. Certainly there would be that expectation. I don't want to say necessarily an expectation, but there would not be like, oh my God, let's get out of here. Or Father, you're talking too long. That's not necessarily what you would feel in a congregation here. It's like we're here to do the Lord's work, and however long it takes to do the Lord's work, that's how long it's going to be here. Yes. And it's okay.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Father Kevin, for joining us for this episode of Veritas. I'm excited to continue talking about Black History Month and about specifically our Black Catholics within the church. We have some exciting things planned for you. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Today's Catholic Newspaper. Hit the subscribe button, and if you want to receive the latest updates on our videos, hit the notifications, and those will be sent directly to you. Have a blessed day, and thank you again, Father.
You're welcome.